Before you listen, if you enjoy the stories and want to hear more, then please consider subscribing. Most of you listening aren't subscribed, so please take this time to subscribe. Turn on notifications so you'll never miss a story and be the first to hear. You'll also be supporting me. Thank you. Working LYFT nights in my college town usually just means driving around tipsy students too clumsy for bikes. Pretty easygoing people hauling that earns me decent weekend cash. But imagine my shock picking up a spirited rider who then disappeared literally into thin air minutes later. Still gives me chills remembering that supernatural encounter on an otherwise routine shift. It started normally enough pulling into the pickup spot near those off-campus mixer bars where kiddos stumble out roaring drunk by midnight needing safe transit back to dorms. I confirm name and destination on my glowing app before this bubbly blonde gal clambers into the backseat reeking of jumbo juice. She's chattering 100 miles an hour, working overtime to impress me, I guess, with party stories of racing some beta bros at beer pong earlier. I nod along politely as she prattles on about capping off the night at swing dancing club before classes tomorrow. Typical carefree college stuff I recall fondly from just a few years back myself. As we drive on, though, my passenger's bubbly drunk tales take on a more scattered tone. She starts rambling about random vintage items and unfamiliar people, breaking abruptly into some old ragtime tune. I glance back confused when she mentions wearing sequined flapper dresses and dancing to Charleston. Definitely never spoke those historic details all night. I chalk it up to just eccentric booze-fueled storytelling, humoring the kooky kid for decent tip hopes. But soon more LYFT ride requests start dinging my app from other locations. I apologize that duty calls getting other riders home safely, though we're only a few minutes from destination she input anyway. That's when sweet rambling tones sharpen into anger behind me. How dare you abandon a lady mid-journey? I simply won't stand for such insult before arriving properly at my boarding house first. I sneak another peer back and suddenly don't recognize the girl at all. Some older flapper woman glares back now, cheeks flaming furious beneath a beaded headband. She huffs indignantly at my shocked face. Eyes ahead towards our route, please, and hurried along. I've a gentleman suitor awaiting cards night, and your dawdling pace shan't make me late. I gawk back again, stammering, positive this was a different college-age rider just seconds ago. The pissed-off old-timey woman raises her bejeweled clutch as if to rap on the glass, petitioning me roll up the partition separating us. But my Toyota Camry sure as heck don't have that. Heart hammering, I shake my dizzy head trying to clear this impossible hallucination. I pull over fast to the curb instead, fully intending to end this freaky ride that makes zero logical sense anymore. I know my passenger entry tonight was 100% that drunk sorority chick from campus bars, not some ancient society dame. The second I stop and swivel back to order her exit, my jaw drops once more. The rear seat lies empty, no brightly buzzed blonde from campus or beaded flapper woman snarling arrogantly. Just blank space where any human form definitely occupied loud and clear seconds ago. I desperately grapple at the latch to check floors, thinking she somehow slipped down wasted. But only empty cardinal red Toyota carpeting spans back there, not a stray halo or fallen sequin in sight. Panicked, I scan surrounding sidewalks, expecting I'd surely spot anyone who just nosedived from a vehicle somehow. But the lone nighttime woman humming walks her dog far across the street, no darting phantom rider or costume drama queen fleeing my creaked-out Camry here. Feverishly, I scroll ride history trying to logic this madness, praying for dashcam evidence of something. But no requested journey comes up for my drive timeframe tonight whatsoever. According to the records, I spent the last 30 minutes parked there idling empty. No confirming ping or passenger in the system for my mental recollection to argue with. Maybe other drivers have experienced this kind of glitch too. Some weird unlogged ride only existing in my own memory banks with a supernatural twist. I tried rationalizing harder about a pranking passenger possibly messing with me using elaborate costumes and props for viral video kicks before vanishing quickly. Almost more comforting to buy that hoax angle. But every theory I've explored since just spirals unresolved the more I nitpick details. All I know with absolute certainty is a young woman I drove from raucous bars didn't just disappear mid-route without a trace, did she? and my poor rattled brain strains processing the bizarre events so vividly experienced yet mysteriously undocumented anywhere but my shattered memories. I avoided rideshare driving altogether those next few weeks lest my ghostly passenger return. Finally showing up again for a short test shift, I nearly quit for life when the Spice Girls' Juan Abe started blasting me mid-ride before abruptly cutting off. No physical bodies appeared this round, but further confirmation I'm transporting spectral beings through space and time now inside my humble set and definitely urged more career evaluation. After that harrowing LYFT gig, I transitioned fully to food delivery, which cannot vanish without trace. But anytime I end up driving past those university hotspots late night, my skin prickles sensing strange presences swirling within my sluggish Camry. Residual paranormal energy seeking transportation through the veil perhaps, desperate to also understand unexplained phenomena far beyond my modest moral comprehension. Just another freaky rideshare story without tangible conclusions except wisps of mystery mischief and memories lingering eternal. I don't scare easy from years living in a gritty town and driving nights, but my recent passenger named Amy might be the closest I've felt to a scene out of The Exorcist. Everything about that girl grated my senses as supernatural the minute she stepped into my car. Still leaves me uneasy recalling how things ended for both of us after her erratic ride requests into darkness. For the pickup location, stuff already fell off. I pulled up near a crumbling alleyway downtown I'd never noticed rider requests from before. Out slinks this gaunt girl dressed in a ragged nightgown, no shoes, hair chopped uneven like she cut it herself in the dark. I catch a glimpse of fresh scabs covering her forearms when she reaches for the door handle. Instant bad vibes hit, but I unlock and let her slide silently onto my backseat, hoping she just needs a safe ride to better circumstances. I introduce myself and ask Amy where she's headed first. She doesn't make eye contact, just whispers a motel name 15 minutes away that hourly residents know well for sea dealings. This already feels beyond my comfort zone, but the poor kid seems disoriented and scared, so I pull away gently hoping the motel has secure rooms at least to get her settled soon. A few silent minutes pass before Amy starts murmuring incoherently to herself. I hear lots of religious words mixed with pleas for forgiveness. She rocks harder, fists clenching and unclenching in the shadows. Everything in me screams mental instability mixed with drugs here turning ugly fast. But the motel comes into view down the block, relief washing over me. Just then, Amy lurches forward, clutching my headrest, wild eyes glowing. This way. Turn here now. She points towards an abandoned warehouse district. I hesitate, suggesting her motel destination just ahead instead, but she will not retract those long, dirty fingernails from my seat as her grip intensifies. I still aimed forward, I have no choice but to veer where ordered, skin crawling the further we delve into deserted industrial streets. Finally, I break hard and turn, demanding to know what's going on, since I never agreed to venture this deep off route. But before I utter another word, Amy recoils back into her muttering, rocking routine. We sit there idling next to decaying brick buildings while I weigh options. Cops could force her out, but she'd done nothing necessarily criminal, just erratic and maybe dangerous herself. Heart warring with logic, I ultimately continue driving slowly in search of some safe public area to discharge this distressed soul from my vehicle. Maybe she'll recognize landmarks that escaped through madness and find her way without harm. I chatter gently, pointing out convenience stores and all-night supermarkets glowing warmly across the wasteland Amy guided us to against all reason. She doesn't acknowledge any of it, just garbles on with head bowed reverently, then cackles next towards the roof. Nothing about this girl reads stable or safe the longer journey wears on. I start zigzagging block to block, praying we chance upon health responders or shelters able to properly assist her. But the farther I roam these foreign industrial mazes, the further we seem from any responsible exits. By now, I'm questioning my own sanity allowing things to reach this point. Amy occasionally lurches up to scratch demonic symbols on window breath clouds, then collapses back immersed in delusional conversations I desperately try tuning out. Who knows what substance or psychosis fuels her terrifying trip, but nothing about it can end well if we continue circling literal dead ends. With one finally firm stop, I inform Amy someone will arrive shortly to fetch her as I dial the cops, trembling. She hisses like a rabid animal and scrambles out. bare torn feet slapping the pavement. My eyes follow wearily as she disappears down an alley laughing between anguished groans. All sound and sight vanish quick while I crouch panting, vergonic energy overwhelming logic. The cops never found her after combing everywhere we drove for hours, it seemed. No reports later either of partially clothed women wandering nearby streets unbalanced and vulnerable. Amy had seemingly disappeared back to the underworld after luring me briefly to her brand of haunting chaos impervious to moral help or reason. For nights after I analyzed myself ruthlessly, why didn't I eject her earlier before those warehouse district shadows swallowed us whole? Why did I doubt my own inner voice howling caution from the very start? Weeks later, I still shudder envisioning Amy's twisted features pleading and cackling by turns, looking centuries old. I quit driving Lyft soon as I gathered wits post-trauma, sickened I enabled rather than protected someone clearly unwell. Maybe another driver could have safely detoured her obvious demon to sanctuary. But wave for eternity by profound guilt I still carry. No logic excuses why I let hell overtake us both during that ride. Some darkness hides too thick to expect saving outcomes once entered blindly. I know because Amy's haunts me eternally for the shadow as I turn toward despite all warnings echoing right and reason. It started out as a pretty normal Saturday night driving for Lyft. I had picked up the usual crowds heading home from bars and restaurants. Nothing out of the ordinary. Around 10 p.m., I've had a ride request from a woman named Caroline at the airport. When Caroline got into my car, she apologized for all her bags and equipment, but said she was headed to an art gallery showing. She had a large portfolio case, a huge camera bag, and 2 other large-wheeled suitcases. I helped her load everything in while we chatted. Caroline was very friendly and told me all about her landscape photography and how she had gotten into printing and selling her nature photos at art shows. She seemed totally normal, dressed artsy, but was very pleasant to talk to during the 30-minute ride. She lamented how busy she always was these days between travel shoots on location and then printing exhibits to display. I'm looking forward to the day when my shows are successful enough that I can relax and focus more on the art, she said wistfully. When we arrived at the trendy brick warehouse gallery downtown, I helped Caroline unload all her equipment and wished her the best of luck at her big show that night. In her mad rush to get everything inside before the doors closed, I noticed she left her phone sitting in the black leather backseat. I quickly called out to catch her before entering. Caroline came rushing back, arms loaded with her stuff, and I handed her the forgotten phone. She thanked me profusely and hurried inside, just as the gallery door shut. Back on the road minutes later, I noticed Caroline's phone lighting up with multiple new text alerts that she must not have seen come in yet. Glancing over quickly at a red light, I could see the texts on her lock screen were from someone labeled in her contacts as his partner. The preview lines had words about new inventory and accessing vehicles tonight. Seemed rather urgent, so I made a split-second decision to send a quick reply letting her partner know that Caroline had left her phone in my Lyft, but I was returning it to her event now. I tried to avoid invading rider privacy, but this seemed like time-sensitive biz matters needing a response. As I pulled up and parked outside the warehouse gallery again, even more texts flooded Caroline's phone, lighting up the dashboard area where I had placed it. Against my better judgment, I read the latest previews that popped up. 4 new buyers lined up, neat, fresh inventory tonight as planned. When can you access the vehicles? Payment ready for 15 plus units. Waiting for confirmation product ready for shipping. My pulse spiked reading these. Why was her business partner demanding access to vehicles and inventory to ship ASAP? The way this guy talked, it sounded like they were planning to move stolen cars or something. Suddenly, all of Caroline's comments from earlier rang in my ears again about longing for the day her photo business earned enough ethical income that she could relax. A cold chill went down my spine, realizing her landscape photography must just be a front for illegal rackets funding her posh lifestyle. Just then, another preview from a different contact labeled Seaport appeared. Cargo hold cleared at terminal tonight only, no workers to interfere. Get product stacked by 3 a.m. In that moment, it crashed down on me that I had been helping a criminal the entire ride here. Caroline must be moving chop shop vehicles overseas under cover of her photography career and shows. I started panicking hardcore, hands shaking on the wheel. What did I do? Should I confront Caroline? Play dumb and just hand over the incriminating phone. I couldn't destroy evidence, but also didn't want accessory charges for knowledge of felony plots. Heart pounding, I knew the cops had to see these texts ASAP. Gripping the phone for dear life, I peeled away from the gallery and drove straight to the nearest police station to turn it in. The detectives on duty initially seemed skeptical until I showed them the loaded texts clearly implying vehicle theft and smuggling. Once they saw the same seaport message demanding over a dozen vehicles be prepared for mysterious midnight shipment, their whole demeanor changed. I gave them all the details on Caroline, her event location that night, and the time frame reference to sneak stolen merch through the cargo terminal while paid-off workers looked the other way. The cops assured me I did the right thing, coming forward immediately with a phone full of criminal evidence. One unit was dispatched straight to the warehouse gallery while others headed to intercept the shipment terminal plot. Later, I called the detective to check if they arrested Caroline or anyone else at the locations named. But he couldn't share many specifics about ongoing investigations. I can only hope my accidental discovery of her phone text provided enough concrete leads to catch the whole car theft ring behind her fake photography studio front. All I know is I quit Lyft driving that same week, constantly paranoid I'd be hunted down for ruining lucrative criminal operations. The local paper reported a huge stolen luxury car chop shop getting busted at our seaport terminal months later. Apparently, shipments were halted right before making it overseas to buyers willing to shell out tens of thousands for untraceable hot vehicles. Seems eerily similar to the hush plots in Caroline's messages about clearing cargo holds and product urgent to transport. I also noticed a trendy art event warehouse suddenly ceased operating downtown after cops swarmed the place responding to an anonymous citizen tip. Makes me wonder if Caroline's whole photography showcase was simply an elaborate production to launder money and distract from the real illegal workshop dealings going on after hours there. Maybe she intentionally left that phone to keep her worlds separate in case of a slip-up that night at the bustling event. But fate had me intercept vengeful criminals targeting her once the stolen car scam got exposed thanks to nosy Lyft guy reporting too much. At least the creepy feeling of waiting for retaliation has faded somewhat over time. For all I know, Caroline and her whole organized crime network could be locked up or laying low far from here. Nowadays, when riders leave wallets, vapes, or sunglasses behind in my car, I don't stress too much returning their small items. But I'll never forget how accidentally gaining access to Caroline's phone cracked open a massive world of hidden crimes no one expected festering right under our noses. Goes to show you truly never know who or what you might randomly transport as an unsuspecting rideshare pawn.
Thanks for listening in. If you like these stories and want to hear more, then please subscribe and like and support this new channel. We have more stories for you to listen to.